All right, guys, in today's steps, we're going to be installing the fins for the rocket. To do this, get some of the stuff off the video. You're going to need your rocket tube that we worked on yesterday, a sheet of cardboard that will become the rocket fins, a template for the fins that would be in the same sheet that we used for our shock cord anchor yesterday, some type of marker, preferably a Sharpie, because a magic marker is going to smear a little bit, and then you'll need a good pair of scissors and a ruler. To do these steps, first thing you want to do is you want to get a glue or plug in a hot glue gun, get that warmed up so it's going to be ready for us. And we're going to cut out the fin pattern from that piece of paper. So you're going to wind up with a cutout pin that looks like this. There is a small triangle on there that you do want to make sure you cut out as well. So we're going to use that as a pretty important marker, so we make sure we get the fins on correctly. When you use this stencil to lay out your fin pattern on the strip of cardboard, first of all, we want to make sure we do not cut anything until we know that we have all three fins fit on this sheet. Because everybody's going to have three fins for their rocket. If you start cutting before you have all three traced on there, you're not going to have enough. And there is a special way you want to do it. So your first fin that you trace is you're going to line it up so it's in the corner. And that kind of looks like the panhandle of Nebraska. If Nebraska was a straight edge state, but we got the corner lined up there. I'm going to use my marker. I'm going to trace against that long side, the shorter side, and then I'm also going to notch out that triangle. So I have a shape that looks like that. Okay. On my next one, add it from here. I am going to spin it. So now this long edge already has a line on it. So I don't even have to trace that one again, because I can just use that line that's already there. So now when I trace, I'm going to trace down the diagonal, straight down, and again, make sure I have that triangle notch there. So now I have one fin, two fins. Okay. My third one, when I trace this one, was sitting here like this. The next one, I'm just going to slide it over so it lines up with that blue line. And then I'm just going to continue it down. And I'm going to trace here and here. And again, mark my triangle. And then this is my third fin. Okay. Once you have your three fins traced and you have three on there and you know they fit, we're just going to cut them out with scissors. Some of my scissors are better than others, so if you find a good pair, you can always share with your table. So go ahead and cut these out. And now would be a good time to pause the video. So when you are done cutting, you should have three fins that look like this with our triangle notched out. What this triangle represents is that is the side that eventually is going to go against our rocket body tube. If I take my ruler and I measure the length of this side, it should be approximately 3 inches long. Okay, so that means on our rocket tube, we are going to put a bead of glue that is 3 inches long. Now, the location of this is important. If they are not separated equally, your rocket's going to be unbalanced and the trajectory is going to be affected. So what you have at your table is a guide that'll show us where to put our rocket tube. So what you're gonna do is you're just gonna set your rocket tube right down on the circle. And where each one of those lines is, you're just gonna make a mark right there at the bottom of the rocket. Careful that it doesn't move, because we want them to be aligned. So I have 3 marks at my at the bottom of my rocket. Now, before we glue anything on, we do want to make sure that they're not affected. So right here, you can kind of see this mark. When I glue that fin on, it's going to run into my launch lug. That will not work. So now what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to make an adjustment. I'm going to have to remark my lines. And I'm just going to put a special mark on the ones I'm using. So if you pay attention to the location of that launch lug, when you first make your marks, you won't have to do that a second time like I did. But I made a mistake, so I got to fix it. So I have 3 marks that kind of have an arrow on it. That's where my wings are going to go. Now I said each one of those is 3 inches long. So with my ruler, I am going to make a line that is 3 inches long, that is in line with the tube. Okay, this is where a table partner is going to come in handy, to have somebody hold the ruler and somebody hold the tube, because the straighter your lines are, the better, more accurate flight you're going to have. When you're done, I have 1, 2, 3 lines. Okay. So now that I have my lines marked, I'm going to take that hot glue gun and I'm just going to put 1 bead of glue. It does not take a lot. Glue down that strip. And then take one of my fins and I'm going to make sure I put the triangle against the rocket tube. And then you are going to have to hold that here for 30 seconds or so. Wait for that glue to dry. Again, we're just making sure it doesn't move or flop away on us. And then you're going to continue this process. Once this one's dried and firm enough that we can let go without it falling off, we're going to go ahead and do that with the other 2 fins. And at that point, you're going to be done with your fins once they're glued on. Make sure you still have your initials or a spot you can see. And then we're going to go ahead and put them away in your cabinets. Okay, so go ahead and pause the video here. Put your wings on. I'm going to come back here in just a second and show you the finished product. All right. So when you're done, you should have all 3 fins glued on secure, and the rocket should be able to stand up on its own on those fins. Now it's probably not going to fit in the cabinet standing straight up like that, so you can still lay it on its side, but you do want to make sure the glue is completely dry, otherwise your wings will kind of fold up on it. So you do want to make sure they're flat. Okay. All right, and that is day 3. On day 4, so day 3 of the build, we will start working on our parachute and our engine assembly. All right, you guys got this.